ladies and ladies. Very few gentlemen here, I think, today. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining this session on careers in trades and the construction sector. I'm Gary Gupta. I'm the chair and founder of the Migrant Career Support Trust. A little about our trust. We are a fairly new organization, just 2-3 years old, and this is just an effort to help our migrant community, and in fact anyone in New Zealand who's wanting to get into the mainstream careers of New Zealand. So many a times we feel that much information is not available on particular sectors. So that's why we see coteries being formed. People just go to their friends refer friends, but anyone who wants to come outside of that group finds it's very difficult because that information is not available. So we are trying to do that. We are trying to address that issue by having more equitable information across the board, and talk on different aspects of career building. So we do a lot of workshops. We do physical workshops as well as we also do online, and due to COVID a lot has been online through webinars like these. There are different levels of workshops we do. So we do generic workshops for anyone who's doing a job hunt and trying to get their first job in any sector. So that's called a boot camp, where we do talk on things like different skills for job hunting, and there are some specific which are about industries, like today's which are information session on a particular sector. So the reason why we've chosen trades and construction today is because we have heard a lot about this sector, how it's going to grow, and the housing prices are increasing in New Zealand, in Auckland, and they are they will continue to grow, which means the sector will also continue to grow, and there is there's a limitation of the talent pool available in New Zealand for this sector. And so we have some very talented and very capable experts today with us, who will help us and guide us through this journey. So we have Dasham Bedi. Dasham Bedi is from the Manukau Jobs and Skills Hub. A bit about Dasham. Dasham is an experienced career and recruitment professional who has worked in internal and external recruitment for 10 plus years in various capacities. So he's recruited for MBIE, NZ Bus, Deloitte, Ministry of Social Development, and he supports other local communities with employment outcomes and provides career advice as well. Currently, he's recruiting for trades, construction, and infrastructure industry. And Dasham is excited to see the growth aspects in this sector and is on the hunt for talent who's ready and willing to build Itora. So thank you so much, Dasham. And Dash, as we call him, has been pivotal in putting this together and getting the right experts. So thank you so much, Dash, for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I'll also introduce to you Kylie and Zoe. Kylie Trafford is an educator in the secondary school environment. As one of the founding members of Women's in Trade New Zealand, she has been involved in the development of resources and events to promote non-traditional trades to women. So thank you so much, Kylie. She does such an important job for our community, getting women in the right place, in the right industry, and busting all the myths. So we are really honored to have you with us, Kylie. Thank you so much for giving your time to us. And then we have Zoe. Zoe is the woman in charge, so as to say. So she's a 27-year-old scaffolder based in Christchurch. After completing her degree in sociology at the University of Canterbury in 2014, she entered the trades industry to play a part in the Canterbury rebuild. In 2019, she went back to study to complete an honours degree focusing on women that work on tools in the construction trade industry. Till date, she is still scaffolding and has her own company. So congratulations, Zoe, on your journey, and more power to you and more women like you. So thank you so much for giving your time, and I'm sure she'll share some practical tips and the do's and don'ts of this industry, what she's gone through and how she can help the community. So
thank you.
Thank you so much, Zoe, and all of you for joining us. So quickly, I'll give the stage to Dash. And Dash, over to you. You can start with your talk and presentation. Yeah.
Awesome, great, cool. Well, thanks a lot, Gaurav, for the introduction. Gary for the introduction. Gaurav, Gary, same thing.
That's
So I'm from the Manukau Jobs and Skills Hub under MSD, and I'll just quickly introduce the hubs. Just let you guys know what we do and the function, and then I'll pass it on to Kylie for her chat as well. So there are three hubs that are under MSD. There's the City Centre, Manukau, and Northern. Northern is in North Shore, and City Centre obviously in CBD. Who we are. So we operate under MSD, but we operate individually as well. So we are a single point solution and with connecting employers and candidates from the community to find work in the trades and construction industry. Now, we were established in 2019 to support the government's notion of helping the country with such an influx in trades and construction. So we provide recruitment and training services to organizations and connecting with ITOs to ensure that we are helping the government fuel the growth of the construction industry. There are two other hubs. The other two hubs are called ARA Hub, which is at the airport, and there's a Tamaki Hub, which is run by TRT, which is Tamaki Regeneration Trust. The ARA Hub focuses on pretty much all the industries, and so does Tamaki. These are the three hubs that I'm talking about. The Manukau Central and Northern focuses only on trades and construction roles. What we do, so for job seekers, we help job seekers find training, apprenticeships, or employment opportunities. For employers, we help them source the talent by looking at our talent pool and help manage or upskill their current staff. And then we have a predominant focus on the trades industry, connecting the community into long-term sustainable employment opportunities. We are not a recruitment agency. I'm just making it clear here. We are a service provided by MSD, particularly for trades and construction. So the people in our team are quite experienced and they're aware of the industry with in-depth knowledge. And so we have connections in that industry which go quite deep. So that's why we exist. We were originally under MBIE at first, a couple of years ago. Since July onwards, we are under now MSD banner. But we do operate independently. We have our own logo, our own space in Manukau, our own email addresses. So it's all like pretty much like a monolithical brand under a big brand of MSD. So let me now talk about the careers industry in this industry. So in building, infrastructure, and civil. I'm sure if you are somebody who's really into this industry, you will know what's on the screen right now. But if you're not, these are some of the major projects that are currently being run in Auckland. Now, the Central Interceptor, City Rail Link, Kāinga Ora, it was really foreign to you. I'll pretty much explain this. The CRL, City Rail Link, is the underground train that's been built in town, connecting lots of major spots there. So obviously there's opportunities there to work in that industry, not just working in laboring or space where you're doing manual labor, but other jobs. For example, you could be an admin, you could be a quantity surveyor, you could be a handyman, or there's so many different types of jobs available in that space, which I'll touch on in the next few slides. Kāinga Ora builds, which are pretty much housing New Zealand houses in different areas of Auckland, the Middlemore Hospital extension, the airport expansion, super clinic extension, Drury South is coming up with some more residential housing, the Ormiston Town Centre in Flatbush is expanding a lot, and the Pukekohe Railway is becoming electrified and is further extending out to Drury train station as well. So these are a few of the major projects that are currently happening in Auckland, which create a raft of opportunities to be part of. Now, again, like I mentioned before, when someone hears trades and construction, they would say, oh, you want to be a laborer. That's not actually true. There's so many other different types of jobs that are in here right now, which people can go and get themselves into. For example, let's take one from here, architecture, the very first one. You would need a qualification for that program to be an architect, right? So it's not just you have good hands-on experience, you'll be a laborer. But if you do a qualification, a proper course in an university, you can come out and be an architect. And that falls under the building construction realm. Earth moving machine operators, this is a skilled job. It does, even though it doesn't have a qualification, but you have to be a skilled operator and you get tickets for it to become an earth moving operator. A crane operator, very similar. Quantity surveyor, you'll need a qualification for it. Floor covering installer, again, a skilled job. So you'll see all this here is a mix of skilled, unskilled labor, and also qualification related. Okay, what do employers want? I mean, this list is pretty exhaustive, but it's pretty same with whatever industry you get yourself into. Physical fitness is in there because most of the jobs in construction and trades are physically demanding. You'll need to be physically fit to conduct those jobs, but you don't have to be a Superman to lift 50, 60 kilos at one given time. It's just demanding regular fitness for you to operate the jobs. And obviously it depends on where you're working as well. If you're in a very hard physical role, then yes, you'll need more physical fitness there. Otherwise, you'll be okay with just usual fitness. Willingness to learn, motivation, team player, initiative, all real similar things we've heard in the past. But the most important one is the first one, the drug test passing. Now, the health and safety is a very serious topic in the industry, and that each company, whichever I'm known of, they're taking it very seriously. So if you are safe, you are not doing drugs or coming up to work and having a drug, then you are a safe person. If you've done it, please, there's no chance. It's 0% tolerance. People in this industry have 0% policy, so you cannot be doing drugs at work or you've done it before you come to work. People also think that if having a puff in the weekend and coming to work on Monday is okay. Absolutely not. The system, the drug remains in your system for at least 90 days. So you'll need to get rid of that, and then you'll be ready to comply and work safely. The right attitude, which is the bottom part, is very important. Skills can be taught, but if someone comes with the right attitude to learn on the site, then pretty much employers are ready to train the right person. There is also a huge skill shortage in this industry, which is because of COVID. That's one of the reasons. So the employers are a little bit more open to train people and invest their time in giving them the right training as well. So you could have on-job training, you could be part of an apprenticeship scheme, you could be involved in doing some sort of qualification through work. All that is possible, but for the right person. Okay, so it's actually a pretty well-paid industry as well. This is one of the myths that we're going to be busting later on, but I'm sort of giving you an outline here. The wages start from minimum wage and go up to 30 an hour for entry-level jobs. And these are jobs that we normally call laboring, concrete laying, quarry worker, pipe laying, cable laying, electrical assistant. All these jobs are part of entry-level position. For the right person, it can go up to $30 an hour, depending on which company you are working for. But this is sort of the range in the market at the moment that you'll find. As you go up the ladder, you'll see a supervisory or an operator position or a managerial role. You will be getting this sort of salary packet in this industry. Now, again, to be a crane operator, like I mentioned before, you'll need some sort of skill under your belt. So you would come with at least 3 or 4 years of experience of running operations of machinery beforehand. Then you become a crane operator. So that's when you get this sort of salary figure under your belt. And finally, you have managerial roles where you become a site manager or a construction manager, engineer, health and safety managers, quantity surveyors. These sort of job titles attract this sort of salary packet. Now, in an ideal position, you would not be somebody getting straight to 180. You have to take an approach where you go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3. But if you can see, the range involved in this industry is actually quite vast. And the people who are in this industry right now, they're certainly making good money out of it because the work in this industry is very fastly growing and it's very rapid. It's going to grow more. If we eventually come out of lockdown, we're in level 1 and we're fully vaccinated, the construction industry is going to go on a big boom. And this is anticipated from January, February next year, where the work is going to really hard. So we have to have a workforce that's ready to do these jobs. Civil construction, this is more of an underdog. The civil construction jobs are not really talked about much. People confuse it with construction. So civil construction is building infrastructure for the country. So things like transport, water, communication, farming, they all fall under civil roles. Wherever you see a sign for a company by the name of Downer, that is a civil construction company, and they are building bridges. They are doing all the windmill construction, to do the emergency response. That's all falling under the civil category. The requirements are pretty similar to what you want to go into construction. Construction is more building upwards, and civil will be building horizontal. So that's pretty much how I can describe it. The prerequisites are pretty much the same for anybody who wants to get into it, but the career pathway is a little bit different. So as you can see, if you get into communications, for example, you could be a trained installer of communication towers and laying broadband. So that falls under civil, as compared to a crane operator, which falls under a construction or an infrastructure role. Cool. So that was a bit about the career in a nutshell and what the hubs do. I'll pass it on to Kylie now to have a discussion around what women in trades are and what do they do.
Thanks, Dash. Welcome, everybody. It's really lovely to have so many people here to talk about women in trades. So my role within Women in Trades is I'm one of the co-founders and also one of the co-chairs of Women in Trades. Women in Trades is an independent, not-for-profit organisation that was established around 2016. And it was established initially by somebody who worked within Māori and Pacifica Trades training, because they noticed that they were getting quite a few females through, but were worried that there wasn't enough support there for them. So after the initial event, which was in 2016, I took over as chairperson with a very small committee, and we developed the brand and the web presence while growing the event. So initially our events in Auckland, 2020, we were supposed to go a bit more regional. Unfortunately, that kind of didn't happen. But we've had 3 really successful events in Auckland, and we've actually had women who've been at those events who have got jobs from meeting with the industry. So our events are really about how do we connect women who are interested with in the trades with employers, different training and providers, just so that the women can understand the best fit for them. So they might find an industry that they really like, or a pre-trade course that they really like that they hadn't even thought about before. So we really sort of emphasize on that independence. Unfortunately, our event this year was to be 2 days after lockdown, but we had over 300 women registered to come in, plus over 100 different people there as providers, which was really exciting. Our goal is really to provide an ecosystem that works with industry and other organisations to get women into the trades. And by doing that, we have our events. We also have speaker events. So quite often we'll get emails from different organisations. Today is a really good example, from schools asking for tradeswomen to go in and talk about the trades. And it's about that visibility. I mean, the slide that's in front of you, one of the reasons is that there's just that lack of visibility from, parents don't see it, women don't see it. And so they just initially rule it out as a potential career. So our goal is how do we sort of make it more visible? Another thing that we're working towards is how do we support women who are already in the trades? And that's an area that we're growing. So it's not as strong as it should be and could be, but we're definitely working on that. And so part of that is our social media campaign, looking at how do we promote the women who are already in the trades and doing phenomenal things and being incredibly successful. So that on one hand shows that women can be successful in a variety of trades, but on the other hand shows women who are doing it, that they're not the only woman in the trades. And sometimes that's really important because you're quite often battling through these situations and you're thinking, oh, this is really hard, whereas you might read about someone else who's had a similar situation and you're like, okay, I'm not alone, I can do this, I can work through it. And we get quite a few women who actually email us or post on our social media asking for connections with other women, which we kind of facilitate as best we possibly can. We also like to think that we could work with employers, and so that's where our connection with the Jobs and Skills Hub is. Often employers, they don't have, it's not that they don't want to employ females, they just get a bit worried because there's all this stuff in the news around, not being appropriate toilets, and they think, oh gosh, I'm going to have to spend extra money on toilets and things like that. And sometimes it's just a case of sitting down and having a conversation with the women, the tradeswomen, about what do they need and what do they want. And Jobs and Skills Hub are having those conversations regularly, and that's really exciting for us. And also, tradeswomen, you'll hear from Zoe soon as well. When you go in and you get your first trade, it could be where you stay because you love your trade so much, but it also is a stepping stone to other opportunities. Dash showed you all the different careers that are in. So a lot of women who go in and become carpenters might go on and be site managers, or in the case of Zoe, she's gone on to own her own business. So she's just really building those opportunities. And so we're looking at ways that we can support women to do that. So really we're looking at making female role models, and that's role models for women wanting to get into the trades, but also role models for women who are in the trades and working their way up. I know I interviewed someone once and she said she was in her pre-trade course and she'd gone on a site and she saw a site manager who was a female, and she was like, I can do this. If she can do it, I can do it. And it just gave her that confidence to step forward a bit more. So as I said before, we've got our social media campaign that we work on now. I'll have to apologize to our social media manager because these numbers are significantly lower than what they should be. Our Instagram following is probably nearly 2,000 now, if not more. Facebook's definitely within the thousands, and LinkedIn's growing significantly. Actually, it's one of our biggest growth areas. So like I said, we have our tradeswomen Wednesdays. It's a bit hard because our tradeswomen work incredibly hard, so we try and get as much information from them as we can and build really cool stories about them and promote them. But getting that information out of them is really hard when they've got their jobs. But it is working because we do get so many people emailing us saying, I saw this, I want to do this particular job, how do I get into it? And that's where we connect with training organisations, people like Dash and Jobs and Skills Hub, and we provide those connections. We're not a recruitment agency. Our whole goal is how do we make this more visible, this job more visible to women. So yeah, that's the jobs, that's Women in Trade. So, go on our website, have a look at what we're doing, send us an email or contact us through our social media platforms. We're really interested to hear what women are doing, what women are interested in doing, and where we can, we facilitate those connections. We're looking at next year, hopefully going to have more events. Our event that was cancelled has been rescheduled till probably next March, so keep an eye out for that. And also we're looking at having further events around the country, funding permitting. So I would now like to pass you on to Zoe, who will tell you her phenomenal story and her experiences within the trades.